In this lecture, we are going to take a look at HTTP request methods. Now, what is HTTP? HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is basically a protocol that is designed to enable communications between client and servers. Now, HTTP works as a request response protocol between client and server. A client sends a HTTP request, and then the server, if the server is off, then the server responds accordingly. Now, example, so as I have said earlier, a client will now send a HTTP request to the server, then the server returns a response to the client. Now, the response contains the status information about the request. That is status information, whether it is 404, whether it is 200, which is okay. So it contains status information about the request and may also contain the requested content. So if the client is requesting for a certain web page and the server is having that web page and the server is up, then the server is going to respond with 200, which is status code, which is 200, which is okay, and then the requested web page. So this is just a diagrammatical representation. We have the client sending a HTTP request to the web server, and then the web server also is sending back HTTP response back to the client. Now, there are several methods used in making this HTTP request between the client and the server. Now, these are some of the methods. We have the get method, we have the post method, the put method, the head method, the delete method, the patch, and the options. Now, okay, so however, the two most common HTTP method are the get and the post method. So the get method is basically used to request data from a specified resource. So that is, a client will now send a get request to the server requesting for a particular resource. So it is one of the most common HTTP method, as we have said earlier. And what happens is that during the get request, the query string, that is the particular web page or any resource that the client is requesting from the server, is inputted within the URL. So the query string is in the form of a name value pair is sent in the URL of a get request. As we can see in this particular example, so we have the name value here, we have the name1, and then which is a basically name1 is the variable of that particular resource that the client is requesting from the server, and then we have the value of that particular variable. So we have name1 equals to value 1, and then name2 equals to value 2. So name value pair, which is basically the resource that the client is requesting from the server. Now, also we have the post method. Now, the post method is somehow similar to the request method, in that also the post method is used to send data to a server to create or update a resource. Uploading an image, uploading a file, we use the post method. So then there are some little comparison between the get method and the post method. Now, the get method is less secure compared to the post method because data is sent in the get method. The data is sent. Data sent is part of the URL, as we have seen in this particular example. So we have whatsoever the query string is in the name value pair, and the query string is basically what the client is requesting from the server. So it is encoded within the URL. We can see it in name1 equals to value 1 and name2 equals to value 2. So this is basically the query string that the client is requesting from the server. But in post method, the request whatsoever the request that the client is making to the server is not sent as part of the URL. So in get method, the data, the query string, is visible to everyone in the URL, so everyone can see it on the web browser, on the URL of the web browser. So in post method, however, post is a little bit safer than the get method because the parameters are not stored in the browser history or in web server logs. And also, while making a post request, data is not displayed in the URL.